Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
I hadn't missed a Sunday dinner in 27 years. Not when work buried me in double shifts, not when the flu left me shaking under 3 blankets, not even when I hated myself for it. Loyalty was my currency, and I paid in full every time. That evening, I drove the cracked streets of Detroit with Mom's favorite pot roast warming the passenger seat, garlic and thyme swirling through my old sedan like a promise that I still belonged. The porch light glowed its familiar welcome, golden safe. I remember thinking how I'd give anything for that light to stay on forever. But just as my hand touched the screen door, voices leaked through the thin wall. I froze. Gemma won't say no. She never does. Dad's voice, calm, like betrayal was just business. Rudy's laugh sliced through me. She's good for it. 270 grand. She'll pay it off before the IRS even blinks. Mom's voice wavered. But Rudy, it's so much money. It's not right. Don't start, meh, Rudy snapped. She's got that fancy new job. She's single. No kids, no husband to bleed her dry. That's our job. I stood there, the pot roast sweating in my trembling hands. Every memory, every check I'd written for them without question, felt like pins pressing into my skin. I wanted to storm in, slam the dish on the table, and scream. But my feet stayed rooted to the welcome mat I'd worn down over years of showing up. Dad's voice again, too casual. We'll tell her it's for your mother's health, or the roof. She always says yes to family. Outside, the porch light flickered like it knew I didn't belong under it anymore. I backed away, careful not to creak the step Rudy used to trip me on as a kid. The pot roast slipped sideways, gravy dripped onto my wrist, burning, but I didn't flinch. I made it to my car before my legs gave out. My breath fogged the windshield as I stared at their house. My house, one last time. They hadn't even asked me. They just decided. My love, my money, my life, theirs for the taking. And that night, something broke. The daughter who never said no was gone. My mother called me. I ignored it. Then Rudy called. I didn't answer. When my mother called again, I decided to talk to her. Gemma, why didn't you come to dinner? We were waiting for you. Mom, I heard everything when you all were talking about me and money and how you wanted to trick me into giving you a lot of money again. You all were deceiving me, Mom, and you only need me as a walking wallet. Yes. We wanted you to give us money. Rudy is in trouble. Tax fraud. Mom, I won't give you another cent. Rudy is an adult and has the right to take responsibility for his own questionable actions. And I hung up the phone. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat at my tiny kitchen table, the pot roast still in its foil, untouched. It felt like an artifact from a life that didn't exist anymore. Around me, stacks of bank statements, old emails, and check stubs piled higher with every hour I dug back through my past. I traced every dollar, the 20 grand for Rudy's landscaping business that failed within a year, the 15,000 for Dad's knee surgery, the 5,000 here, 3,000 there, just until payday, sweetheart. It added up to more than $250,000. Gone without a single question asked. By dawn, my eyes burned from the screen's glare. I pulled up my bank accounts, each one connected to them in some way. I hovered my mouse over the transfer button, heart pounding. My phone buzzed. Mom's contact photo, the one I'd taken of her blowing out candles at her last birthday. I let it ring. She didn't deserve my voice. Not yet. When the banks opened, I moved everything. Checking, savings, old investment accounts, even the dusty 401 from my first job. I closed every point of access, changed passwords, added 2-factor codes. If they wanted my money, they'd have to break open the vault. And this time, I held the only key. Mid-morning, I called my boss, Miranda. She answered on the second ring. Gemma, it's Sunday. Are you okay? I forced the words out, my throat dry. Can you spare 5 minutes? It's personal, but it might affect work. Of course, meet me at the cafe on Jefferson. Now, when I slid into the booth across from her, Miranda didn't ask for small talk, just folded her arms. Start from the beginning. So I did. The overheard conversation. The years of money. The manipulation. When I finished, she stared at me, eyes narrowed behind her glasses. You've been bailing them out for how long? Since my first real paycheck, I whispered. Miranda leaned in, her tone like steel. You need a lawyer. And you need proof. Every transfer, every note, every time they said it was a gift. You get it all down. You make yourself untouchable. Her words settled in me like a stone, heavy but solid. Outside the cafe window, Detroit's streets glowed with early morning sun, but I felt nothing warm in my bones. Inside me, a quiet part snapped into focus. I'd spent my life giving. Now I learned how to keep what was mine. It didn't take long for the silence to crack. Rudy was the first. My phone lit up with his name, 3 missed calls before I finally answered. "Gemma, you can't just ignore me," he snapped, his voice hoarse like he'd been practicing tears. "This is serious. I'm in deep." I stayed quiet, watching my reflection in my dark computer screen. The same woman who used to sign checks with a smile. "You knew what you were doing," I said flatly. "You hid it, you lied about it, and you were ready to drain me dry for it." He scoffed, anger flaring. "You think you're so righteous. It's just money. You make more than all of us combined. Family helps family. Family doesn't ambush you on the porch while you're holding dinner." I shot back. The line went dead. Next was Mom. She didn't call, she came. Monday afternoon, I looked up from my spreadsheet of old transfers to see her reflection in the glass door of my office. I didn't even have time to stand before she burst in, tears already welling up. "Baby, please, just hear me out." Her voice cracked like it used to when I was little and scraped my knees. "Rudy made mistakes, but he's your brother." I stayed seated, hands locked on the desk. "And I was your daughter. Still am. Or does that only count when you need a blank check?" She flinched like I'd slapped her. "It's not like that. We're desperate. We're family, Gemma. You don't turn your back on family." "No," I said, my voice calm. Terrifyingly calm even to me. "It wasn't me who turned away from the family. You did that first." The next day, an envelope arrived, hand-delivered by a courier with a clipboard. I knew before I even opened it. A lawsuit. They were claiming every dollar I'd given was repayment for some imaginary loan from my parents, and that by cutting them off, I'd caused emotional distress. I sat at my kitchen table, the thick packet of legal nonsense heavy in my hands. I almost laughed. All those dinners, the surprise birthday gifts, the times I answered their calls at 3 a.m., reduced to an invoice. Outside, the streetlights flickered on one by one, but I felt no warmth from them now. They were done pretending to love me, and I was done pretending to belong. When the judge tossed out their absurd lawsuit, I didn't feel triumphant, just hollow. No written contracts, no evidence. All the years they begged and borrowed, now twisted into a lie that didn't even hold up in court. It should have felt like a win, but it was just proof they'd never loved me, only what I gave. I sat in Miranda's office the day after the ruling, the city's late winter sun pulling across her desk. She handed me a thick envelope. "Your transfer papers," she said. "Sydney Branch wants you. Same title, bigger salary. New country, new everything." I looked at the words, the plane ticket details. An ocean between me and them, I whispered. Miranda leaned back, arms folded. "Gemma, they'll drain you until there's nothing left. If you stay, you'll always wonder when the next knock comes." I thought about Mom's tearful ambush at work, about Rudy's voice on the phone, laced with a threat disguised as pleading. I thought about how the porch light I used to love now looked like a trap. That night, I went through my apartment one last time, the cookbook stained with gravy, the framed photo of Dad pretending to carve a turkey, Rudy mugging for the camera. I found the big plush teddy bear I carried to their house the year I got my first bonus. A symbol, back then, that love was something you could hold onto if you gave enough. I held that bear close, breathing in old dust and stale memories. Then I dropped it into the trash. It landed with a soft thud that felt louder than any goodbye. On my last evening in Detroit, Rudy called again. His number popped up with a city code I didn't recognize. "Gemma, you can't leave me like this," he hissed. "I'm your brother. You owe me." I cut him off. "No, Rudy, I don't owe you anything. I owe myself a life. You'll regret this," he shot back, his voice shaking. "No," I said, my hand already reaching for the plane ticket on my coffee table. "I regret giving you the chance to think I'd stay." I hung up, the dial tone echoing through my quiet living room. And just like that, my old life felt done. Boxed up with a teddy bear, left behind for good. I woke up my first morning in Sydney to a dawn so bright it stung my tired eyes. The harbor glittered like it knew a secret I was about to learn. Freedom isn't just leaving, it's staying gone. 6 months later, my lawyer emailed me the final update. Rudy was sentenced to 24 months for tax fraud. The parents sold their house to cover the damages from taxes and court costs. They'd moved in with Aunt Margie down in Florida. No more porch light, no more Sunday dinners. I didn't feel revenge, just release. One drizzly evening, I got an email from Mom. No subject line, just 3 sentences. Gemma, we're sorry for how we handled things. We hope one day you'll come home. Love, Mom. I stared at the blinking cursor, feeling nothing but the calm weight of truth. I typed back, I am home. Take care. That weekend, my new friend Leila from work found me staring out at the harbor, a plate of my homemade pot roast between us. She nudged my arm. You still think about them, don't you? She asked. I nodded. Sometimes, but I don't let it anchor me anymore. Layla grinned, squeezing my hand. Good. Because you're not just what you give away, you're who you keep for yourself. I looked out at the ferries drifting across the water, lights flickering like tiny promises. Back in Detroit, I believed loyalty meant saying yes until I was empty. Now I knew you can love people and still leave them behind if they only love what you can give. I set down my fork, feeling the last thread snap free, and for the first time in years, I was truly mine.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.